Okay, so this is a how-to video on the use of the Logger Pro Vernier software that is downloaded on your school computer. If you do not have your school computer, you own your own personal computer, or you use it, then you'll have to download the Logger Pro software that you can download for free by using the download link I have provided. So let's go ahead and search for Logger Pro in our computer. So I'm going to type Logger Pro. I should see Logger Pro Best Match app. That means it's downloaded in your computer. If you don't see that, that means you don't have the Logger Pro downloaded into your computer. So you need to download it. Okay. If you have a school laptop and it's not showing it and you've tried to restart your computer, then send a tech work for them to push this Logger Pro into your computer. So I want you to also make sure that you pin it in your taskbar. You're showing it's unpinned in here because I already pinned my Logger Pro. So it will stay there in your taskbar always unless you remove it. So let's go ahead and open it. So we have an assumption that the video that you have recorded has already been downloaded. So make sure you download it in your hard drive and download it in a video format that Logger Pro accepts. So I'm going to click on Insert. I'm going to go through, scroll down and click Movie. And I'm going to look for a red buggy car or a blue buggy car, which I have downloaded. So I'm going to use the red buggy car for the demonstration. So you'll see here, these are the file types that are accepted. It should have a file that says .avi, .mpeg, .mov, .mp4. I would suggest use an MP4 file extension because that one easily plays on the Vernier. So I'm going to click Open. And it's out here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize this because I need a graph to show the motion of this. So what we're going to study is we're going to find out what's going on with this object. Is it moving at a constant speed or velocity? Is it moving in which it is speeding up or slowing down? So we're going to find out. So it's easier to analyze motion by using the Vernier. So what I'm going to do is going to go back to Insert and I'm going to click Graph. So it's going to show a graph. I'm going to drag this into the right side. Well, that's up to you where you want that graph. You could either flip this one. So let's take a look at my video. I'm going to click my video here to highlight it. So on the lower left, you'll see some buttons to play it frame by frame, stop it, go back from where it was, so rewind. So on the lower right, you will see this is to sync the video to your graph, okay? If I do that, it will open up a new graph. If I don't, then it will show up on this graph. Now, this is my video analysis tool. So I'm gonna put that. So when I click that, it opens. So that's by default. It opens a new graph. So I'm just gonna use that. The downside with that is it has the two data points on the Y. So I'm gonna just replace that later. So we're gonna choose which column do we wanted to use, and we're gonna remove the other one that's not part of it. So I'm gonna look at my video here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at my video analysis tool. So first I'm gonna set my scale. So I'm gonna click this ruler icon in here, and it will show up this little cross here. So I'm gonna click on one end and I'm gonna drag it. It's gonna show a green line. See that? So I'm gonna put it just right on top of my ruler. Or meter stick. So this is my meter stick, which is 1 meter. And by default, it says 1 meter there and the units is in meters. So I'm just gonna click OK. All right, now I have my scale. Now the next thing I have to do is I'm gonna set my origin. So I'm gonna click this tab in here, this button in here that says set origin right on top of the ruler. And I'm gonna drag it again and I'm gonna set my origin. So my origin is from left to right. It's positive x, so I'm going to put it here. So my object is going to move from here going there. Now if my object is moving from here going there, all I have to do is move this on the other side, and I want to make sure that my data is always positive. So I'm just going to rotate this yellow dot facing this side. So it's the same true when I'm trying to get a positive value if the object is moving up or moving down or down here. Okay, so let me reset this. And I'll try to make sure that the yellow lines are straight. Does not show any like crooked ones. All right, there you go. And I'm just gonna try to move it back. And then, hold on, let me just switch it again because the object is moving from left to right. There you go. So this is my object, is moving from here. So I'm gonna just click frame by frame, okay, until it shows the object. So this is pretty important in here. So pay attention on this because this is where you're gonna get less uncertainty in your data. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick a point on the object I'm studying. So that's gonna be my dot to show the motion dot of the object. So I'm gonna pick this little serval thing here on the wheel of this red buggy car. So I'm gonna set it at 0. So I'm gonna make it move again until it's right along here on this yellow vertical line. Okay, and then just by the edge of the ruler. So at the 0 mark. So that's what I'm gonna be clicking my data point. So what do I do next? I'm gonna set data points. Okay, so you'll see there add point. Okay, now I'm gonna click the first data point. Now here's the good thing here is you don't need to click forward because once you click this, the object is gonna move or the video is gonna play it. So I should be consistent. I should be picking this point. All right, so that's my point. That's my point. So making sure that I click the same point. Can't be picking up points. Oh, I decided to use the headlights. Now I decided to use the windshield. No, you cannot. So once you decide a point, you stick to that point. And make sure you always click that point as it moves. There you go. All right, and you're gonna do that until this car reaches 1 meter. Okay, so I'm gonna stop in a few data points and then look at my data point down here. So I'm gonna remove the Y that is in meters. I'm just gonna click X because this is the correct data point that I want. Now we can see that the object is increasing its this distance or displacement as time goes on, right? Now we know and we talk about the slope. So we know that the slope of this is the velocity of the object. Now how do I draw a line of best fit to find the slope? So I'm just gonna look at on the top, you'll see here this linear fit. That's what I'm gonna be using. We're gonna use some of this other buttons in here as we go on in the class. Okay, but two things. Linear fit is the most common that you're gonna use, and then the auto scale. So you can scale your graph and then see which data points you're studying. Or you can use this magnifying lens to kind of like move. All right, let's go ahead and pick linear fit. Now you could see here that there are two brackets in here. So this is the end of your data point. And this is the end of your top data point. So that's the max range. That's the minimum range. So that should be within. So it should fall within the data points you're using. And then what you can see here, it shows a linear fit. So you have the slope equation, x is equal to m, t for time, and then the intercept. So our intercept is at 0, and then our object's speed or velocity is at 0.4366 meter per second. And that's what you're going to use. And then you're ready to save this. So you can save it in different ways. So you can save it, okay? You can save it as the logger file, but it will not So if I want to open your work, I'll have to open the Logger Pro. So it's kind of like a pain. So what I want you to do is use another method of saving this data. So what you're going to do is use the snipping tool here. If you don't have the snipping tool, all you have to do is type snip. But this is only for Windows-based software, okay? If you have a Mac, then you can just use the capture feature of the Mac. So snipping tool, right click this, pin it in your taskbar so you don't have to look for it every now and then. And then I'm gonna snip it, click new, and then I'm just gonna point in one corner and right click, left click, highlight it, and then you have the snip of the object. Save it. I'm gonna type my last name, so when Mr. C sees my work, he knows that it's mine. There you go. Save it in my hard drive, save it in my USB drive, save it in your Google Drive, and then upload it to a place where Mr. C wants you to put it. And make sure you save it as PNG because that's a web-based. It's a web-based picture features which is easily downloaded to web places. Click save. I'm not gonna save it, and you just have your Vernier Logger Pro put into use.